The circle of power has been prepared per your instructions, Lich. Are you ready to begin the summoning?
Nearly. I've been reading through Medivh's spellbook. His knowledge of demons alone is staggering. I suspect that he was far more powerful than anyone ever realized.
Not powerful enough to escape death, that is for certain. Suffice to say, the work he began, we will finish today. Let the summoning commence.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play
The Restless Dead.
Warcraft 3. What we have today is the final part of the Undead campaign, and it's another defense/holdout mission, a half-hour one, where we have to protect Kel'Thuzad for 30 minutes from 3 sides against ever-increasing waves of units. We start off with a mostly fully formed base. It starts off at Tier 2. How many of the ghouls do I actually want mining?
Our scouts have found a cache of goblin landmines. Excellent. We will make good use of them.
Yeah, we get 12 mines each from that cache, which will be helpful. Now I want to take a chance to show something off just after I set these guys to mine and defend.
I wish only to serve. Thy bidding, Master.
Our town is under Defend Kel'Thuzad at all costs. The summoning must not be disrupted.
Well, it's gonna have to wait until we clear this out. Now we can go back to that. So we're just spam clicking the Acolyte.
Thy bidding, Master. This is the hour of the Scourge. Death shall cleanse the world. All I see is blackness. Our town is under attack. We speak, fleet.
That goddamn our town is under attack alert. So that line was, all I see is blackness. Oh, wait, my hood's down.
I bow.
Those are in the files, they're pissed voice lines when you spam click them. There's another really good one that the Acolytes have that just takes forever to get, and it's, once you walk down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny, and you get dental. There's a really good recurring joke about darkness calling and people not picking the phone up or having him leave a voice message. My favorite one is the Dreadlord, which unfortunately we won't get to hear for a long, long time. About him being a drug lord, or not a drug lord rather. He's a Dreadlord, not a drug lord. And it's the same idea as spam clicking the sheep. It's just a little Easter egg. One that I really, really like. Some of them can be pretty funny too. So back in Diablo 1, there was this silly Easter egg where if you spam clicked on the cows in Tristram, which was your starting town, you would hear player voice lines about, like, not being thirsty. Just these cutesy, funny, obscure lines. And that eventually led to, like, massive speculation that, oh, there's this hidden cow level in Diablo. There must be. That's why the Easter egg is there. And if you can reach it if you do all these really arcane steps. And there was never any cow level, but rumors could spread so easily back then. Like, the internet was nascent enough to connect all of us and help that stuff spread, but there weren't such widespread, centralized resources that it could just easily be debunked. So all of this wild shit just flourished, and it was really fun. And it led to a bunch of, like, dumb wild goose chases, but it was fun. Like, some of them were about, I don't remember the exact name, but they were like ultimate characters or something in Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 and other hidden characters. And of course, some of that stuff actually made it into future games over time, especially with Mortal Kombat. And that same thing happened with the cow level in Diablo 2. There wasn't one in the first Diablo, and then that became a joke in StarCraft, where one of StarCraft's cheat codes was there is no cow level. And then they brought the joke full circle in Diablo 2 when they added a secret cow level that had a bunch of obscure steps that you had to follow to unlock it. Transmuting a bunch of stuff, including a Tome of Town Portals and Wirt's Leg, and something else, I think, in the Herodric Cube. You would open up a portal to the secret cow level. Oh, it's so fun. But the spam-clicking Easter eggs here take their roots back to at least Diablo.
Speak, fool.
That and Blizzard just goes hard on the pop culture references, which like 90% of the pissed sounds are. A lot of the voice lines actually, like the gyrocopters, we've heard a couple of times. The human campaign, we'll hear some more here since we will get waves of gyros coming in. They came from behind is what they say on death.
The Legion's fury scorches the sky. The barriers between the worlds are weakening.
No, not quite what I was expecting. There it is.
To aid us. The beasts are yours to command, Death Knight.
So now, periodically, we will get reinforcements of Hellhounds, which are not units normally available in-game. Instead, these are special demon units, special Burning Legion units. We will normally get waves of 3 of them to help out. And I don't remember the exact interval. It looks like... No, it's not every 6 minutes. We'll get them more frequently now. Or every 5 minutes. Maybe it is every 5. Either way, we have teched up to tier 3. The Hellhound or the Fellhounds help.
More gold is required.
Eventually, though, we will get a larger, heavier hitting demonic unit called an Infernal, which is this giant golem burning with green fell flames. And it has a permanent immolation aura. It's immune to magic damage. Just hits quite hard. What the Fellhounds excel at is a spell called Mana Burn, which deals damage to casters based on how much HP it removes from them, up to 100.
Where shall my blood spill? Tread lightly.
And given that there are going to be priests and sorceresses and archmages coming in to attack us, Fellhounds, they pull their weight in this fight. Especially while we are just kind of building up. We've spent a lot of time just constructing spirit towers and teching to tier 3, and we've only now really gotten our production online. And eventually we are also going to be expanding to this base down here. In fact, once we get enough gold for the expansion, we'll start that right up.
No one orders me around. Finally.
Oh, and we still have this one extra goblin landmine. Did I say mind? Oh, I had a Wisbum moment. My infinite Wisbum. Almost there. Well, that's quite expensive to expand. But I suppose that's because you don't actually need the necropolis there. All you have to do is haunt the gold mine in order to start mining from it. So we have our abominations coming out. We're gonna want a nice varied unit composition for this. So we have slightly upgraded necromancers. We are kind of pumping out the upgrades from the graveyard in a well-rounded fashion. We're not just focusing on any one thing. We have a decent mix of stuff. The only things I'm probably not going to be getting are siege wagons, because there's no real reason to. Froststorms, though, I'm going to go decently heavy on those. You have to watch because they cost 7 food apiece. Upkeep is not going to be a big issue, because it's not like we're going to be running out of gold, even with the tax. Mining 10 apiece, tax down to 7 and then 4. Our expansion is going to keep us afloat. The gold mine from the base that we start with will eventually collapse. But that will be near the end of the mission. And by then, we'll have built up such a hefty force and then a secondary force that it's not going to be too big of a deal. And we're not going to build a secondary necropolis because that's just going to be a waste of gold at this point. Also, there is that goblin merchant shop to the east if you want to buy anything for Arthas, but he's almost 6 slotted for me, so no real need on that front. Now we have our landmines placed all around the different choke points. There's so many different ways of entry for the enemy units, so you have a lot of ground to defend, and the waves only become more frequent and more intense from here. Well, I hear something somewhere. Let's see. We all good here? I think I'm doing almost too well on lumber. So okay. I knew I heard someone. That's actually not all that much. Looks like some of it may have peeled off to come down here, though.
No one orders.
Spirit towers up top should do their trick.
The Legion has sent hellhounds to aid us. The beasts are yours to command.
Okay, yeah, it is every 5 minutes that you get reinforcements from the Burning Legion. Oh, that's where my other Frostworm went. I never pulled him back to the center. So really, what I'm relying on is the Goblin landmines at the choke points, 3 Spirit towers on each side, a handful of units down at each set of Spirit towers, and then 1 centralized force that I can send in any direction, because you don't run into too many situations where they are harsh on you and they attack from multiple sides at once. I wish that happened more often. It would be really fun to try to fend off. Again, fighting on multiple fronts is some of the most fun stuff. Still haven't gotten that tier 1 upgrade. There we go. Yeah, now we're not floating quite so much. We're still doing... we still have a glut of lumber.
Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers.
I think it's at the 10-minute mark that we finally get Infernals for the first time. 15 should be another set of Fellhounds. And because this is mostly just going to be more of the same, and now I'm just building up this secondary force to replace some of the units that will inevitably get killed off from my first unit group, the one that I'm taking around wherever an attack pops up. I think I'm just going to cut ahead. Again, this is going to be mostly the same for the next 15 minutes or so. So it's just going to get a bit repetitive.
I gladly obey.
Alright, so with 3 minutes to go, you can see the attacks have ramped up, and we now have our Infernals. I've had to reconstruct Spirit Towers a couple of times just because they keep bringing mortar teams and siege engines in, and they have no desire to actually attack and kill off my units. But those siege units have been doing a number on my towers, just suicide bombing them.
At last.
Like, steam tanks have just been rushing in, going straight at the tower, and chipping away at them enough to destroy a couple.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
I love that they have all these shades set to patrol back and forth, like right on the outskirts of your base, right from the get-go. By the way, that's a command you can't issue. That's the circular red arrows that look kind of like a refresh symbol. In this case, on Arthas, it's right above Death Coil. You can just set units to patrol around, and they'll automatically attack anything that comes within... like this, the steam tanks. They'll automatically attack anything that comes within their aggro radius. At this point, with 1:50 left to go... I think I'm fine not rebuilding the Spirit Towers. Have managed to use up a lot of that surplus of lumber I had. And we are now mostly mining from... Oh, we are gonna stop that from happening anymore. Look at all those mana burns go out. That is why the Fellhounds are so useful. Did a bunch of damage, plus burned out all of his mana, so he could only channel the one blizzard that he got off at first. We're mostly mining off of that one base in the bottom right.
Kel'Thuzad must be defended. This is the hour of our victory.
And now this last minute push from the enemy that makes this so intense right at the end, that big spike in intensity. This is where we start getting hit from all sides. This left side is so well fortified, plus it's where all of our stuff is that they will never make it to this side. So all we really have to worry about is the north and the east side. Defending that off pretty well. We have that secondary unit group right around Kel'Thuzad in the middle, so we are gonna be fine. But it does, they flood you with stuff just enough to kind of scare you. And then if you're not ready for it, with a minute left, they can actually get to Kel'Thuzad. So you really do have to have that surplus ready of units. But we clean this up really handily, especially the east side alone. Then we just collapse both of the unit groups. Flood them. All these frostworms and fellhounds, infernals, necromancers. So good.
Come forth, Lord Archimonde. Enter this world and let us bask in your power.
Tremble, mortals, and despair. Doom has come to this world. You have done well, little lich. My plan worked perfectly. Lord Archimonde, all the preparations have been made. Very well, Tichondrius. Since the Lich King is of no further use to me, you Dreadlords will now command the Scourge. As you wish, Lord Archimonde. Soon, I will order the invasion to begin. But first, I will make an example of these paltry wizards by crushing their city into the ashes of history.
This has got to be a joke. What happens to us now?
Be patient, young Death Knight. The Lich King foresaw this as well. You may yet have a part to play in his grand design.
Agir, Udal, Nutaros. Agir, Udas, Betalum. Daltaro, Ildas, Glaku. Retum Zepharas Amanar, Kutamus. Belar Sumaris, Azeroth, Rakas, Ikula. Belanora, Mordanos Melar, il amor no falos cada.
So that wraps up the Undead campaign. We are now halfway through Reign of Chaos, and then of course we have the Frozen Throne ahead of us as well. But next time we're going to start up the Orc campaign, the Invasion of Kalimdor. For now, thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one.